Hey guys, welcome back to part 5, the final part of this series of videos. I actually get to ride this bike in this episode, you'll be pleased to hear. So the steering bearings are back in, all greased. Forks are obviously in, as you can see. Front wheel in with new front wheel bearings. Brakes are on but not bled yet. New bolts holding the front mudguard on. I just wish I had the budget to do all the fasteners and get carried away, but I haven't. Anyway, on with the show. So this is fun, just doing the chain and sprockets, and chain adjuster on the other side, free as a bird, is that a saying? And this fucking one is absolutely fucking rock solid. Oh joy. Toasty now. Oh yes, heat is your friend. It's quite hard to hold the camera and do this. Bye. So in case you hadn't guessed, I'm voiceovering some of this because I've taken a load of shots and didn't speak. Yeah, change sprockets on. New front sprocket with a tab washer. Look at that. That is the thermostat housing. Holy fuck. And that is the... Don't swear, Jim. That's the... How is this thing ever running and keeping cool? Look at the contents of the... Yeah, that's the casting that holds the thermostat housing. What an absolute car crash. Anyway, that's going in the Vapor Blaster to make it new again, and then I've taken all the footrest hangers off and all those sort of bits and pieces that I said I was going to Vapor Blast, make them look beautiful. Okay, that's me Vapor Blasting done. They look slightly healthier, don't they? The thermostat housing. I've got a new thermostat coming for that tomorrow, and the rest of it, I haven't gone absolutely bonkers, just cleaned it up a bit, just so it doesn't look quite as scabby. I've got a new O-ring coming for that. That's the union that goes onto the front of the barrels. I've also had, where is it? It's on the bench over here. I took this oil cooler off thinking, I might Vapor Blast that, but then the logistics of trying to mask off and not get any glass bead anywhere is quite difficult, so I'm not going to Vapor Blast that. I've just washed it out inside as best I can. That's good to go. That'll be fine. Oh, and there's a new O-ring coming for there too. I've got the old fan to put back on the new radiator. I need to do that, and then I can get the radiator on, the thermostat housing together, start getting the cooling system back together. You know the pipe that comes out of the water pump at the bottom? Remember that, I think, from part 1, that's all rotted away? Well, I've cut the manky bit of metal off that was all completely corroded away and just Vapor Blasted this for now. I've got a second-hand one coming off eBay that I've found. I'm going to put this on temporarily and connect the pipe to it. Bad idea for long term, even if the pipe did reach, because there isn't a... What am I trying to say? There isn't a raised section on the end of the pipe, so there isn't really a mechanical. You're relying on how tightly you squeeze the pipe down onto this with a Jubilee clip to stop it from popping off. You must have a... Anyway, I'm going to put it on temporarily, and I'm going to flush the cooling system again with some radiator flush. I've done the... Did I film it? I can't remember. So much going on at the moment. I've washed the engine out again with that deruster built hammer stuff. I'm going to run it up with some radiator flush in it and get it up to temperature just using this. Drain it again because you saw, didn't you, the amount of mank that's been inside it. So I'm going to give it one more flush, drain that out, and then when the replacement one of these comes, put that on, and that'll be the final assembly, if you like, with a cooling system. Right, let's get this lot on, and got all these new hoses. It's a good kit this. You saw this in part 1, didn't you? I've got literally every single pipe. all in black, and I've got the stainless steel hose clamp kit as well for it. Let's go get the cooling system all together. The thermostat's coming tomorrow for it, and yeah, we're making progress, and then it's carburetors on and we can run it. Right, see you soon. Okay, update. I'm waiting for this to arrive, and it has. New thermostat. That wasn't cheap. Which way around does it go? I'm assuming that away, yeah, like that. So no sealer or anything required. It's got a rubber seal built into it. Treat that to a couple of new bolts, and that is the final piece of the puzzle for the cooling system, because the rest of it is all together, and the pipes, the new pipes are on the cylinder head. So this goes in with these two pipes, and as I think I previously said, I'm going to fill it up with engine cooling system flush, because I'm waiting on that lower pipe. I've got that old pipe in with the hose connected to it, which actually connects quite nicely, but it hasn't got its raised piece to sort of mechanically hold the hose on. So I've got the second-hand one coming that hasn't come yet, so I'm going to fill it up with engine flush for when I first start it. I'm going to get it up to temperature and then drain it out, replace that lower pipe, and yeah, and then fill it up with coolant properly. Right, onwards, fit this. There it is then. That is the last of the cooling system back together. Obviously there's more to do here. Carbs need finishing. I think I'm going to do that next. I've got to fight with the airbox. Not fight with the airbox, but there's other stuff. Right, carbs next. Oh, and then I'm a bit not concerned, but I need to get a battery in this thing, and obviously I've got this other switch. I've got this other switch up here on the handlebar I've replaced, and there's some funkiness going on with the wiring to that switch, so yeah, I don't know, I'm a little bit nervous about whether stuff's going to work or not. We can fix it though. Yeah, that insulation tape makes me worried. I think I'll pull that off and see what's going on underneath there. I just assumed that they had been cut and soldered together, but look, it looks like it's just rubbed through. I'll take all this off and tidy it up, and then that one there that's got a bit of chock block on it, get it in shot. I'll solder and heat shrink that and tape this up nice. Check all the electrics work, finish those carbs over there on the bench, and then yeah, get some coolant in it. Well, not coolant, but flush. Time to start it then. Very exciting. That's a big fat lie. That's not the last of the cooling system. I've got this expansion bottle which was just sort of completely caked in rusty sludge, so I've got some of my rust removery stuff in there with some boiling water, just soaking that, get that washed out. That's something else I need to get doing. Okay, so wow, there must have been up to the minimum line on that bottle was just brown sludge. Just really makes me worry about this. You know, what's this fucking poor engine been through? I know we compression tested it, but we didn't have it running up to temperature, did we? It makes you worry that... fucking hell, I don't know. Spent all this money on it. We might be taking the engine out. Missing an Allen key. Oh, that'll do. I wanted a T-bar, but... Right, so... is that going to go on? What the fuck? Pattern radiator. And this little noggin here. Oh, that's just fucking marvellous, that is. Really? Sorry, my head's in the shot. It's hitting the fucking bottle. That little noggin there. That doesn't line up. Oh, joy! I can either grind a bit off that or make that whole oval. This is the problem when you start fitting aftermarket parts, and that clutch cable is the wrong side, look, isn't it? Isn't there a little noggin that goes on there that holds the clutch cable? I think there is. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, and that's the flush I'm going to use. I've used that in the past. I get it from the local motor factor, and it seems to work really well. So I'm going to fill it. Let me sort this bottle out. I'm going to fill it with just normal tap water and this for its first start, and then we can, when that other pipe arrives, I've got to drain the coolant anyway, haven't I? So you know what I'm saying, 2 birds, 5 stones. Right, onwards. Okay, been waiting for this moment for quite a long time. Starty uppy time. So carbs are on, that's all good, plugs are in, coils are all connected, TPS is connected, throttle cable, choke, etc. Got a new fuel filter. I've got an auxiliary fuel supply hooked up. I know it looks dark, it's because it's my storage fuel that I use when I'm testing carburetors. And I use this storage fuel because, you know, if I'm shipping carburetors back to people, I don't want, you know, E10 or E5 standard pump fuel sitting in the carbs while they've been shipped and then potentially sitting on somebody's shelf for ages. So when I test carbs, because I don't know how long it's going to be before they go on somebody else's bike, I use storage fuel, and I've mixed in a little bit of 2-stroke oil in this. Just this thing hasn't run for quite a long time, so I just want to, you know what I'm saying, give it an easy life. The other thing I wanted to mention too is I've changed the inlet manifold rubbers. What am I trying to say? I hadn't thought about them, to be honest with you, and I was thinking yesterday about putting the carbs on. I thought, oh, I better just check those manifold rubbers, because I just, for some reason in my head, I just hadn't considered that I might need to change them. Anyway, on the screen now is what the number 1 rubber looked like, absolutely buggered. So I'm glad I swapped them out, because I would have introduced a load of vacuum leaks and it would have caused me all sorts of headaches. Should have ordered them sooner, but luckily I got them on the next day, and they came first thing this morning. Carbs are on, ready to start. So carbs are full, battery's charged, cross your fingers. Come on. Oh, it sounds a bit 3-cylinder-y. Come on now, won't take choke. It's alive. Quite a lot of smoke out the exhaust. I suppose that's to be, yeah, it's smoking quite a bit. It's a bit worrying. Oh, it's quite 3-cylinder-y. Oh, hang on, that's why it's 3-cylinder-y. Look down here. Fucking carbs are massively out of balance. That's interesting, because the massive vacuum leak was on number 1. So I think what's happened, that's actually been a problem that it's had for some time, and somebody has going to cut out on me. Oh, it's not very happy. Turn it off a second. That carb being out of balance like that, that's a consequence of that big vacuum leak. I think somebody's tried to tune that away at some point, because the carbs, I didn't touch the butterfly adjustment when they were on the bench when I was cleaning them, so that's how they were. Very interesting. Right, let me grab a screwdriver and let's do a bit of adjustment. Fucking hell, try and get me screwdriver in there. Of course it has to be number 1 that's miles out. It's the hardest screw to get at. Oh, come on now. Is that going the right way? Yes. Still sounds like it's on 3 cylinders though. Well, that's better. Immediately hear it sounding much happier. Sounds nice. The smoke is starting to calm down in the exhaust pipe. Okay, let me get some proper heat in it and see what gives. Got a new fuel filter on there too. Right, let's keep on warming it up. Get that thermostat to open. get the water going round. Happy days. So I was just running it again and balancing the carbs, all sounding fucking lovely, and it just made the most fucking horrendous rattling sound. There's a slight ticking from the top of the cam cover. Fucking hell, the noise it just made, a little bit of poo came out nearly. Fucking hell. It's alright now, that was fucking bizarre. Have you ever heard a really loud cam chain noise? It sounded a bit like that. But from this side, it would seem. Oh, fucking hell, I'm nervous now. That is weird. A little bit of clutch noise, but can you hear that? Probably not. Like at the normal clutch rumble. Carbs are pretty well balanced. Sounds pretty good. But what the fuck was that noise? Oh god, I'm super nervous now. That was really weird. Shame the camera wasn't on. It's getting hot. Whoa. Okay, I may have found the problem. I can make it focus on there. I'd spin this fan. I don't know whether maybe it was the fan coming on. There's a Jubilee clip just in there. Can you see that? That clip there, shiny. I'll put an arrow on the screen, just touching the fan. What a numpty I am. God, I hope that's what it was. Didn't really sound like that, but I suppose it could have been the fan coming on and it catching that, but it sounded more metallic to me. Let me move that clip. It just needs loosening and rotating ever so slightly out of the way. Okay. Guys, just putting the final touches to this R1 that's been videoed. This subject comes up, can't speak, this subject comes up all the time. I'm just having a final little tweak of the carbs. Look at that mixture, right? Watch this now. So I've got this probe with a bit of a long pipe on it, not massively long. Okay. What happens if I seal that a bit, stop the air getting drawn back down into the exhaust? They'll always read, let me turn this off, they'll always read lean unless you do that at idle. Something that gets mentioned a lot, isn't it, that using one of these LM2 thingy bobs, whatever you call them. Yeah, heat-proof silicone hose on there. Hope you're all doing well. See you soon. Just tinkering with those carburetors. Can you hear me over this noise? And in fact, let me turn it off. Just tinkering with the carbs and oh fucking hell, I can't believe this. A little bit of steam coming up. I thought, oh fucking hell, water leak. It's only dripping from the fucking water pump, isn't it? Do you know on these that the water pump is in the sump, right? And to get at it, you've got to take the exhaust pipe off and you've got to take the sump off. Fuck me. So it's got a little telltale hole in the sump. So the water pump shaft, the water pump is driven from the oil pump, which is behind the clutch here. The shaft runs through the engine and drives the water pump internally. And the shaft on the water pump, so there's an impeller on one side that's making the water go around the cooling system, and the shaft runs through and connects to the drive on the oil pump. On that shaft there's a mechanical seal. In fact, I might have a mechanical seal somewhere here. I know a lot of you already know what a mechanical seal is, but I'll see if I can find a mechanical seal and I'll explain what that is. There's a mechanical seal on one end, on the impeller side, and then on the other side there's an oil seal on that shaft. And then between the two seals, there's sort of a void in the water pump, and there's a little drain hole down onto the, well, not onto the ground, onto the top of the exhaust pipe. And it's just dripping coolant onto the top of the exhaust and a little bit of steam coming up. Well, it's not coolant, it's water and flushing fluid at this point. Fuck. That is really annoying. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to get it up to temperature. Drain the schmoo out of it. Put some fresh coolant in maybe. See if it comes back around. But for various reasons, I'm running out of time with this thing. And I might have to put it to one side for a bit. Oh, crikey. Let me just see if I can find a mechanical seal. And I'll explain to you what that is. Okay. So this is a mechanical seal. I'm not sure what it's off, but it'll be very similar, if not identical, to the one that's in there. So what you have is, there's two parts to it. You have this piece, which is pressed into the body of the water pump. Okay, and if you look at this, look, it's springy. Okay, there's a spring inside there. Okay, so that's in the body of the water pump, and then this little piece is in the impeller, the bit that turns. And if you look at this surface here, look how shiny that is. That very, very finely polished surface, and the same on here. And basically these two rub, there's a spring pressure, and these two rub against each other. Okay, and that's what creates the watertight seal. Understandez-vous? So that is a mechanical seal, and it's called a mechanical seal, obviously, because there's mechanical pressure involved. So that's what's leaking. Coolant is passing these two surfaces. I just wonder whether it might come back around if I run it a bit and then, you know, put some coolant in it. Actual proper coolant. Anyway, is that useful information? Maybe. Right, let me keep running it. Balance these carbs finally, and let's keep moving forward. Fucking hell, I hate that saying, moving forward. It's like, what's the other one people fucking say? Well, it hasn't made the noise again, which I don't know whether that's better or worse, to be honest with you. And interestingly, I can't get the fan to come on, and it's reading low constantly, and it must be, I know, it's getting pretty warm. Let me get my thermal camera on it, actually. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much up to temperature, look. It's at 80 degrees on the head. Yeah. Yeah, the dashboard is still, let me turn this off. Yeah, the dashboard is still reading 0. I think the thermal switch, which is round here, that switch there, 81 degrees, and it's reading 0. That is the only thermal switch on this bike as far as I know. Some bikes have a separate fan switch and a separate switch for the radiator, but I think that does everything. Or am I mistaken? Research. Okay, so looking at a wiring diagram from the thermo switch, both those wires, that green and red, they both go straight into the dashboard, which is the combi meter, and then the fan relay, which is down here. Fan motor relay is controlled, so you know how a relay works, not going to teach you. That brown is a constant live, and then one wire goes to the ECU, ignition control module, and then that green and black also goes up to the combi meter. So that there's only one switch. That fan is telling the ECU engine temperature, which is obviously needed for other things as well. No, it's not injected, is it? We're on carbs, aren't we? So, yeah, so the ECU has control over the fan, and there's only one thermal switch, which is reporting a resistance to those clocks. Gonna need to get another switch, aren't I? Another, yeah, another one of them. Where are we? Thermo unit. Oh, what a pain in the arse. Okay, it is what it is. I was panicking that it wasn't charging as well, but stupid trousers here hadn't connected the regulator rectifier up, so I think that's okay. Okay, I found out why it won't work, and now I'm even more confused. So this wire here, which has got a green and red and a black and blue, which are the right colours, fits, this plug reaches and it plugs into that sensor there. Happy days. Okay. When I do that, that doesn't work. But let me show you. Plug that in, turn on the ignition. Says low. Okay. On the loom going to the headlight, so the loom goes around the front of the headlight, and anyway, I've got another plug identical, which has got, hang on, get it in shot, this one. It's absolutely identical, same colour wires. Sorry, get that in shot down there. Look, it's the same plug. It's got the same colour wires. I plug that one in. He says 41 degrees. What the fuck? What is that wire for? There's only one sensor on the bike, definitely. That's fucking weird. Oh my god. That's a sign, that is. That's what that is. It's time for a cup of tea. Goodbye. Okay. Several cups of tea later, I'm still none the fucking wiser. Yeah, I fuck knows. I'm going to put a pin in it. That's another fucking annoying saying people say. I just wanted to talk to you about this Airbox. So, I'm giving it a good scrub clean. The air filter inside it, because it's ram air, isn't it? So it's got this big sponge affair inside. It's completely fucked. And I can't seem to find one. It's a QB carbon one. They still exist on their website. I'm going to just run it without an air filter for now. I'm running out of humour with this bike. I just need it done. What did I want to tell you about? When you're running ram air, you probably know this already, but when you're running ram air, you have to pipe in. So these are the float bowl breathers, and these are the breathers for the top of the diaphragm. Now, normally these would breathe to atmosphere, right? Atmosphere, as far as these carburetors are concerned, is the inside of this airbox. So if this is under pressure, that's effectively atmospheric pressure as far as these carbs are concerned. If you don't run the float bowl breathers into the airbox and you run ram air, as soon as you start getting a bit of boost, if you like, so pressurizing the airbox, makes it run lean. So just there's a little bit of information. So there's some holes drilled here for these pipes to go in. So I'm going to get this airbox on and clampy down and worry about your camera's in the way. I'm going to have to move you, and then we'll worry about an airbox and air filter later on. I'm also missing a couple of Zeus fasteners as well to hold the lid down, and they're a bit of an odd size. I haven't got any. That's that. And then I've washed all the bodywork. I just spent an hour, believe it or not, scrubbing the bodywork with Suffix HD. I've also got over here on the bench some, so I took all the old, you know, the reflective heat stuff they have in the body, in the belly pan where the exhaust pipe gets close. That way in the belly pan, that was all just peeling out, and it was just a complete mess. So I've cleaned the belly pan up, cleaned all the bodywork. I'm going to redo all that reflective heat stuff just in the under tray, just to make it a little bit neater. It's like fiberglass matte, sticky backed, you know the stuff. Get that on. Oh, and the other thing that I've just noticed, and I don't know how I didn't notice this sooner. In fact, I'll flash some pictures on the screen. There's a bolt in the side of the frame down here that I'm not going to be too rude because it might have been the owner that tried to drill the bolts out. Bolt snapped off in the frame there. Somebody's had a go at that, which holds the fairing panel on, and there's another one down on the sump that somebody's had a go at. I need to get those 2 broken bolts out because there's no way I'm having that fairing flapping around. So, fucking hell, there's another hour of my life I'm never going to get back. It just fucking goes on and on and on, this thing. Just when you think you're getting to the end. Right, get my head down, do some work. Fucking look at that! It's almost finished. Big, massive fast forward. So, what's happened? So it's all together, airbox is all on, all funky, hunky-dory. One of the things the guy asked me to do was, there is a... Oh, the screen's missing as well, by the way, because the screen bolts holding it on were pretty manky. I've got some new screen bolts coming tomorrow. It's unfortunately got a red iridium screen. This fucking thing. Very 1990s, isn't it? Ideally, it wants a nice clear original screen on it, but it's not having one from me. I got some bolts, some black bolts coming to hold that screen on properly because all the well nuts, the rubber well nuts, had fallen to bits. So that's happening. I'm waiting on, you know, the little 2. If you point the camera in the right bloody direction, you know, the little pipes for the overflow from here that go down onto the ground. I haven't got any of the right size rubber pipes, so I've got some of that coming. What to say? Belly pan's all on. I lined it with all the shiny shit. I don't know whether you can see that in there, if I can make it focus. So that's all nice and neat now. Fucking massive elephant in the room is this exhaust pipe. I had originally, before this thing sucked all the life out of me, I had ideas of taking this off and cerakoting it, etc. It wasn't in the list of things the guy wanted doing, and I'm not opening that can of worms. The exup valve is seized in the open position, and again the guy said don't worry about that, so I'm not worrying about it. I've done, what to say, I've let my OCD run away with me a little bit, and I've done stuff that wasn't on the list, and I'm gonna have to, you know, be very gentle with the labour bill, let's put it that way, because the amount of time I've spent on it, honestly, days and days, it just, every time I get this bike out to work on it, I seem to fall into an alternative sort of time warp fucking universe. So, what else to say? The fairing screws on the other side, the one in the frame, this one, some bright spark, has snapped a fucking drill bit off in the hole. And I'm sure with enough time and energy, I could drill around it, get the piece out, clean the hole up, make an aluminium, you know, tap a thread, put a blank in it. You know, it would be fixable, but it's 3 hours of fucking around probably, which I really don't have. The screw down here for the belly pan, that one came out, well, didn't come out all right. I've ended up helicoiling it, but that's all good. I think I might put some sort of sticky loop thing on the back and just cable tie that in, just because that is going to fucking annoy you riding along, isn't it? That needs to be addressed. So the big outstanding things are, this needs to be addressed. The exhaust pipe and the exup valve needs stuff doing to it. And then, did I mention previously? So the fuel level gauge, which was also on the to-do list. This light will start flashing in a minute. It's got 3/4 of a tank of fresh super in it, and everything's connected up. So I've tested the sender. That works fine. That's not a problem. And the wiring up to the clocks is fine. If you spoof the clocks with the ground on the green and white wire, I think it was, the light doesn't stop flashing. What I'm saying is the fault is in the dashboard for that flashy fuel light. And yeah, that's going to need to be dealt with at some point. Apart from that, pretty much there. So I need to road test it, I need to MOT it. I'll probably give it one more pass in terms of cleaning. That front wheel could really do with another scrub, but I'm just, yeah, I've got to get my fucking OCD under control. The next time you'll see me, I'm going to be riding this thing on a road test, and then hopefully that is the end of it. Oh, and it's got the old battery, and I was just reading through the list of the things the guy wanted, and he said put a new battery on it, and that's coming tomorrow as well. Even though this battery seems okay, you know what I'm saying, it's not perfect, that battery. Pretty pleased with the way this yoke came out and stuff. I just stuck that little emblem back on. Although these little Allen bolts, normally these Allen bolts would hold the original handlebars, and it's got these clip-ons, but I've just put a nut on the back, just fill these holes in with a couple of stainless bolts. Originally they had a little black plug on them, didn't they? But anyway, I think it looks nice. You know, God, stop talking, Jim. You know, I scrubbed all the headlights. They've all had plastic dressing on them. So, I mean, it all sort of looks new when you look down in there. There's a little clip missing off that, which is a little bit annoying. But again, fucking hell, how... It just goes on and on and on. If you allow it to... Oh, and there's a couple of little rubber noggins missing from under here. Before I put the mirrors on, I might see if I can get a couple of those, just so the fairing sits... You know what I'm saying? It just, fucking hell. You could just, where do you draw the line? Yeah, right. Stop fucking talking. I'll see you on a road test. Oh yeah, and of course, the main thing that I neglected to mention, which was potentially the biggest fucking nightmare, is the water leak. It stopped leaking. Thank fuck. I really didn't want to have to take the whole exhaust and the sump off, so I drained out my flush. To be honest, it came out pretty clean. Nothing to see here. I think I've got 98.765% of all the shmoo out of the cooling system now. I put some fresh coolant in it, you know, proper coolant. I've run it a couple of times up to temperature, fans come on. No leak. So that's that. Thank goodness. Right. I'll see you on the road test. Okay, here we are, finally a road test on this R1. I said elephant in the room, didn't I, about the exhaust. The other one is obviously the tyres. It really needs new tyres, but that's not on the to-do list. They look old, and I mean, they're not dry rotted or anything, but fucking old tyres in the winter time on a bike like this. I'm going to be going steady, let's put it that way. But just really, I want to get it up to temperature, make sure it revs out, etc. I've got a flashing fuel light, which is a bit annoying, but there's not much I can do about that without getting inside the clocks, and that's not happening. Fucking hell, no wonder I'm cold, my coat's undone. I had a... Did I say about the oil light? I also had an oil light, which is a level sensor on these, as you know, not a pressure light, which can be slightly alarming when it comes on. You haven't got lack of oil pressure, the oil level's slightly low and they're quite sensitive. Anyway, that was faulty. When the engine got hot, that would come on. I got they're £150 for a new one. But I got a second-hand one from a Breakers, found it on eBay, which was 35 quid, I think it was, something like that. So now I don't have an oil light, which is nice. So the only outstanding thing is that fuel light and the MOT. It's got its new battery, it's got its little noggins, black rubber bits under the mirrors. What else was there? Anyway, it's all done. My list is all ticks at this point. couple and give it a squirt on this bit of a straight road here. Yeah. It's got some beans. I mean, it's been... Let me slow down, you're not going to be able to hear me. It's got some beans, clearly. This engine's been breathed on, hasn't it, as we know from looking at that cylinder head. I'm not going to go silly though, it's too cold and too slippery and the tyres are too old. Let's get in front of this car here. Is it going to tick over? Yes it is. Okay, ticks over alright. Whoa, front wheels coming off the ground. It's pretty fit, I think, this engine. Right, let's call time on this. Thanks for watching, guys. I know it's been a bit of a slog. It's been a fucking slog for me. Do the like and subscribe if you would. If you want to support me more than a like and subscribe, have a look in the video description. There's a link to becoming a patron of the channel, which then gives you access to the Discord, which is an awesome chat group of like-minded people. Lovely friendly bunch. And you also get access, if you message me in the Discord, you get access to a great big database of service information, service manuals and things. And thanks to the two guys that have taken on the organisation of the database, you know who you are. I really appreciate it. I feel like it's been hanging over me for quite some time, but a couple of my awesome patrons have put their hands up and volunteered. You'll notice them in the Discord chat. They're a different colour to the rest of you. You're all orange, aren't you? But there's a couple of guys in sort of a pinky purple colour. You can thank them in the Discord. They're the database admins. Anyway, if I can find the right fucking gear, I'm going to say goodbye. Okay guys, see you soon.